Before we begin, I want to say something clearly. I am not a licensed therapist or mental health professional. What I share here is based on lived experience, deep research, much reflection, and personal healing. This space is for awareness, clarity, and identity work. But if you need clinical support, trauma-informed therapy, or professional intervention, please seek that. There is strength in getting the right help. With that said, I do not speak casually about these topics. I speak from depth. Let's move forward. If you're holding on longer than you should, even when your mind knows it's not working, stay with me for a moment. Because sometimes the hardest thing isn't seeing the truth. It's understanding why you can see it and yet still not move. We're going deeper now. This isn't just about emotion, and it's not just about love. There are patterns operating underneath your awareness. There are attachment patterns. There are nervous system responses. There are reinforcement cycles. And if you don't name them, you'll keep fighting something you don't fully understand. So today, we're going to slow this down and we're going to name it. Let's start with hope, because hope is not a weakness. Hope is sacred. Hope is what keeps people loving. Hope is what keeps some people praying. Hope is what keeps people believing that something can still shift. And sometimes, hope is exactly what keeps you staying. There's a version of hope that produces clarity and steady action. And there's a version of hope that produces waiting, bargaining, and self-abandonment. And the difference between those two changes everything. When hope is forward moving, it brings peace. When hope stops being forward moving, it becomes something else. Let that sit. We don't talk about that version enough. So I'm going to repeat it to you. When hope stops being forward moving, it becomes something else. It becomes what I call addictive hope. Before we go any further, let's define addiction clearly. See, addiction is not just substance abuse or reckless gambling, just to name a couple. Addiction is a pattern of repeated engagement with something, even when it's causing them harm, because it temporarily relieves discomfort. It involves craving. It involves preoccupation. It involves tolerance, meaning you need more of those good moments to feel okay. It involves withdrawal, meaning when it's gone, you feel destabilized. And continued attachment despite clear evidence that it's hurting you. Now, apply that to hope. If you are staying because the idea of what it could be temporarily relieves the discomfort of what it is, if you feel withdrawal when distance appears, if you need more and more reassurance to feel steady, if you continue investing even when the pattern hasn't changed, That's addictive hope. Addictive hope doesn't feel dramatic. It feels patient. It feels loyal. It feels mature. And for some, spiritually mature. But underneath it, something else is happening. You excuse their behavioral patterns because you can see their potential in your mind's eye. You tell yourself, maybe I'm overreacting. You replay the good moments to override the bad ones. You feel something in your gut and override it because you don't want to be wrong about it. You notice you're carrying more of the emotional weight and convince yourself that love requires sacrifice. You notice you're explaining their behavior to other people more than that person even cares to change their behaviors to make things better between the two of you. You notice you're more careful with your words than you used to be. You notice you're monitoring their moods. You notice you feel relief when things are calm. Not joy, just relief. And you call that progress. You're constantly or purposely conscious of meeting their needs, but very little to none of your needs and desires are met. And you're telling yourself that staying proves the depth of your love. It doesn't. That hits deeper because it reframes identity distortion, not surface behavior. When hope requires you to reinterpret your own nervous system signals, your body and mind's signals, in order to stay, it is no longer hope. It is now coping. That's when hope isn't moving you forward anymore. You're allowing an empty hope to regulate your nervous system and guide your life. Addictive hope can only birth waiting, bargaining, and self-abandonment. Now let's talk about what fuels addictive hope. It's called intermittent reinforcement. And I need you to stay with me here because this one explains a lot. Intermittent reinforcement is when something good happens just often enough to keep you invested, but not often enough to feel secure. It's unpredictability with occasional reward. When the warmth comes back, when the laughter returns, when they're attentive again, when things feel almost like they used to, your nervous system relaxes, and that relief feels powerful. But because it's inconsistent, your body doesn't stabilize. It starts scanning for the next good moment. You become more alert, more observant, more careful. Not because you're obsessed, but because you're trying to predict their patterns. And here's the part most people don't say out loud. Relief can feel like love, but relief is just the absence of tension. Let that sit. When calm feels like a reward instead of a baseline, your nervous system has adjusted to the instability. Before we go any further, I want you to ask yourself 3 honest questions. Don't answer from your mind. Answer from your body. When you think about this person, Does your body feel calm or does it feel tense? When their name lights up on your phone, does your breathing stay steady or does something tighten in your chest? When you imagine your future with them, do you feel joyous and expanded or do you feel like you have to brace yourself and prepare? Because your body usually knows before your thoughts are ready to admit it. Let me explain why I keep bringing up your nervous system. Your nervous system is not abstract. It's not psychological jargon. It is your body's built-in survival system. It reacts before you reason. It reacts before you explain. It reacts before you justify. When you experience unpredictability in a relationship, your nervous system stores that, not as a story, but as sensation. Tight shoulders, shallow breath, stomach drop, scanning their tone, monitoring the temperature they bring to the room. Your mind might say, "It's fine. Don't overthink. Be patient." But your body is tracking patterns in real time. And here's the part that changes everything. If you grew attached to someone during instability, your nervous system can start confusing relief with safety. Calm doesn't feel normal. It feels earned. And when relief feels like reward, you will fight to keep the source of both the tension and the relief. That's not love. That's called conditioning. Your mind and your nervous system do work together. Your mind remembers the person. Your body remembers the pattern. And your body will often react before your logic catches up. That's why you can know better and know that you deserve better, but yet still stay. If this stirred something in you, don't ignore it. Sit with it. Let it surface, because awareness is the first shift. There is more to this conversation, and we're not done yet. I'll see you in the next part.